My name's Lauren Vitagliano,
I'm Rob Williams.
and this is our property, which we've coined the Pine Barrens Post. Our property located in Sweetwater, New Jersey, about 30 minutes west of Tuckerton. I was actually born in Tuckerton. There are no hospitals in Tuckerton. I was born at home on Frog Pond Road and lived there for 8 years. And then my family moved to this area, and I spent my childhood here, went away to college, and then came back. I did my freshman year at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Florida. Then I transferred up to the University of Alaska in Anchorage. My career is in aviation. I work for the Federal Aviation Administration doing research and development for airports. My graduate work is in aeronautical science from Embry-Riddle, and but this is really what I love doing. Our business started last year, July of 2021, and it was really just because we had a surplus of honey, and we wanted to offer it to friends and family and our community. So we just decided to file an LLC, and it kind of took off from there. A large part of that is due to our social media presence, I think. And then I started exploring, once we sold the honey, and then I started exploring other, they're called value-added products from the hive. So that's anything made with beeswax, anything made with propolis or pollen. So then that kind of snowballed into, I guess, the product line that we have now, a year later. And then also in the meantime, I started getting into a lot of herbal applications, and then learning more about the native plants in the area. So that's my passion. And then married with the bees, the beehives that Rob takes care of mostly. It's a good combination.
So I quit my full-time job. I have a part-time job working at a local organic farm in Newfield, delivering plants to Whole Foods and Mom's markets. So it gives me time to really dedicate to the property and what we're doing in the homestead, keep things running smoothly.
We met about almost 3 years ago, right before COVID. Actually, a friend introduced us, and honestly, the world was about to shut down, and we had gone on like 2 dates, and I was like, hey, do you want to quarantine together? Because once you leave, like, you can't come back. It was like that week where we didn't know, so it worked out.
Yeah. 3 years later, we started out with foraging the beaver sticks, and then I needed a polish to put on them, so we made the spoon butter, and then polished up that, and I was like, wow, this is cool. We can do this on a bigger scale.
A big part of that is because I'm able to work from home, so I'm a little bit more productive in just around the house. So I can step outside for a break and tend to the garden or check on the bees. I'm not commuting anymore, so there's time savings there. So that really did help. When COVID happened and everything shut down, outside was really the only place for people to go. And then the outside was shut down, which was really bizarre. But and then people started just being outside and learning more just about the birds and the trees and the flowers, and just being more in tune with the environment and what's been going on. And I think people lost that, and they're finding it again, getting back in touch with it. And I think what we offer, more than just products, but I try and teach people about any of the native plants that we have here, things to do with them, medicinal uses for them. And we also host events, and we have groups of people that we paddle with and hike with and camp. So it brings, I guess, the Pine Barrens and nature and being outside is kind of the common thread throughout all of it. So this is just an olive oil with jewelweed and plantain and yarrow. And then this gets mixed with beeswax and shea butter for one of the products. Yeah, this was one of the first things we made when we figured out, you know, beeswax is waterproofing and conditioning. So this is just beeswax and sunflower oil. And you just rub it on your kitchen tools, utensils, cutting boards, and it just conditions them and keeps them from cracking and drying out. You're not supposed to put your wood tools in the dishwasher, but a lot of people do anyway. So this will help.
These are some of the infusions for our honey that we're doing at the moment. We're going to be jarring these up probably in the next couple of days. This is our honey with pine, white pine. It's absolutely delicious. High in vitamin C. This one is Tulsi, which is a plant that Lauren was just harvesting earlier. Then we have a simple syrup that we're making with pine cones. It's fantastic for cookies and cake. You just fill it with sugar, put the cones in there, and then let the sugar melt, and it ferments a little.
So this is our wax melter, and we actually buy beeswax in giant blocks because this is as much wax as we would collect from like a hive. It's just this little tiny jar. And to harvest your wax from your beehive, it means that you are kind of ripping down their house. So we leave the beeswax for the bees because that's where they put the honey and the pollen inside to store. And then we just buy beeswax in bulk from a local commercial beekeeper that can produce way more than this. So we melt it down, and beeswax has a melting point at about 140-45 degrees. And we make beeswax candles, 100% beeswax. They will burn longer, burn cleaner. It's said to clean the air because it attracts positive ions from your air. And it's the closest light that will mimic the natural sunlight. This mold here is for this little tree, and I've already wicked it. There's a special tool. This is a wicking needle. And we just pour it in. And this sits for a few hours to set, and then we demold it and clean it up, and that'll burn for about 8 hours. We also do tapers. We also do hand dip tapers. They take a very long time to make though, because Rob is literally dipping them in a vat of wax one at a time, and there's 60 dips. We make our pine infused honey, which is really good for any sore throats and coughing in the winter time. High in vitamin C. You could make a tea out of these needles by themselves. So cutting them up just releases some of the oils, fragrance, flavor. I keep creating different, like, new products, so it's hard to, it's only been a year. So.
This is my shop. This is our garage. This is where I do a lot of work with the birdhouse gourds and making honey dippers out of different wood that I find in the area. I'll come in here and spend a couple hours turning some wood, and we keep all our bee supplies here. Here's some of the gourds after they've dried. It takes about 9 months. We'll dry them outside and leave them on the vine for as long as they need to, and then right about winter time, before frost comes, they'll crack. We'll bring them inside and let them dry a little bit, and then I'll make birdhouses or something with them, put a little hole in there, and we'll lacquer them so they'll last a little longer. Here's some of the beaver sticks I was telling you about. This is what started it. They're sticks that were chewed by the beavers. We have some beavers locally. There's little chew marks, you can see them, and they'll wash up on the beach, or when we go kayaking, we'll collect them. Our modest garden. This is where we grow all of our vegetables, which we don't do anymore. We do more specialty stuff like gourds and loofah, These plants here are pawpaws, which are native to the area. They have a really unique flavor. They're like a cross between a banana and a mango. So it's a real tropical flavor, but it's a local plant. Growing well. We have a loofah right now. As you can see, it's quite big. This will get dried. We'll dry it out, and then inside is the loofah sponge, and then you cut it in sections. Some of our Jersey Devil tomatoes, which are an heirloom variety that we've grown. But as you can see, they're shaped like a devil horn. That's why they're called Jersey Devil tomatoes. And we have our bushel gourds here hanging. They're used for storing things. And we'll dry this out and clean it out and decorate it and sell it. Horseradish that I'll pull up and dry and put it in sauces or sell the plants. These are called ground cherries. These are not really sure what family plant they're in. They're similar to the tomatoes, but they're sweet like a cherry. And inside this little casing is your fruit. And they're sweet and almost like a tomatillo. And over there we have birdhouse gourds. We have a couple growing. Again, really hefty. We'll dry them out and make birdhouses out of them. We have an abundance of different herbs. There's catnip, catmint, lemon balm. And these gourds over here are called spoon gourds. People would dry them and they'd cut this part of the gourd out, and then they'd have a big scoop.
So this is sweet pepper bush, or clethra. It's also called summer sweet. So that's a good nectar source right now for our bees, and it's native. It's blooming all over right now. I've filled in a little bit further up, but all this is natural. This is New York ironweed. This is also a native plant. This is button bush. It's already bloomed, but it has like big white spiky balls on it. It's really pretty. This vine here, oh, it's hard to see, but these little pink, has these little pink flowers on it. This is called groundnut, and you can eat the tubers from them. They're kind of like a potato. They were eaten by the Native Americans that were here. This plant here is water hemlock. So it is toxic, deadly, poisonous to most animals and people. The pink flowers in the swamp are called swamp mallow. It's in the hibiscus family. And this here is a native mountain mint. And this I'm going to cut and dry and probably use in tea.
This is our chicken coop, and our ducks and our chickens live in here. Here's some names of our past residents. We have 10 ducks and 15 chickens. And they live in here during the night. They free range during the day. The inside, we got a lady here laying on some eggs. But you can see we have quite a variety of different colors. We'll take them to the farmers markets, or we do what we call an egg subscription. People will sign up for weekly or monthly or bi-weekly egg delivery. If they're local, within 10 miles, we'll deliver eggs to them. People seem to enjoy it. So we have a couple of local bakeries that buy our duck eggs.
You do the wool yourself?
No, the previous owners had to put in. These are our compost bins. They spin. This is a new project for us this year, learning how to compost raw materials and food scraps. We don't make enough scraps here to really compost. Most of the stuff goes to the birds. So we coupled with a local restaurant, LB's, but we get their food scraps once a week, and we compost them to make our soil for our garden. Here's our beehives. We have 4 here, 3 and a nuke, another hive in the front yard, and we do a hive hosting where we put hives on people's property who are thinking about having bees or just like honeybees and they don't want the responsibility of taking care of them. It's a great outreach for us. Really enjoy all the things that the bees have to offer hive-wise with their honey and the propolis and beeswax, and they're amazing creatures. So we had this year some of our friends paint the boxes for us, just as a fun little way to get kids involved in what we're doing, and it was a lot of fun. So as you can see, they're really active this morning. It's warm, it's not raining, so they're out collecting what nectar is left. We're in what's called a dearth right now, where the plants aren't creating nectar, so they're just bringing in pollen and whatever they can find, water to keep themselves cool. Yeah, it's my 3rd season beekeeping. Lauren and I are both a part of the Beekeepers Association, South Jersey Beekeepers Association. There's generally one or more in each state, which is just exactly what it sounds like, a group of beekeepers that will mentor and give you what the knowledge that you need when you need it for the different seasons. Mostly a lot of reading and trial and error, which can be expensive if you're wrong, but yeah, just read and ask a lot of questions. We go to one place is a nursery, and we have a hive there, and we'll crack the hive open, do a short lesson for about an hour and a half, and then everybody who's comfortable will suit up and we'll get into the hive and we'll show everybody what it looks like inside a working hive. Yeah, we have people here just to visit. They want to hang out and help, which is always welcome. More hands the better. But mostly, yeah, we've done a couple of school things. In some elementary schools, we'll bring an observation hive, which is just one frame with a glass window, and we'll bring that so that people can see the bees working on a frame. But yeah, if people ask, we'll go.
This is an artesian well, so it's basically just water, fresh water that's coming up out of the ground from the Kirkwood Cohansey aquifer, and there's a lot of iron in it, as you can see, but that's where our water comes from. So here's an example of the native red maple or swamp maple. Last year we started participating in a program run by Stockton. They received a grant to research the viability of South Jersey having a maple syrup industry. So we received some training and some equipment from Stockton, and we ended up tapping about 60 trees between here and another 2 properties in the area. So this is what you could see, like here's where we tapped this one, this is where we tapped this one, and then this coming winter we'll tap these trees again, but we'll go in at a different location.
Are more at risk because of pesticides So this is the Mullica River, downriver. We'll go to the Atlantic Ocean, and across the way we have Crowley's Landing, which was also known as Crowley Town, where the mason jar was first produced. And further down is Batstow Village. We enjoy this river as much as we can. A lot of beautiful local flora and fauna that live here and are specific to the Pine Barrens. We have all kinds of birds of prey. We have bald eagles, osprey, Cooper's hawks. They all live around here, and they nest all along the river and enjoy the fish. There's the typical pickerel, perch, catfish, and occasionally the stripers will come up when they're spawning. 100%. I mean, why we do what we do is because of where we are and our love for the area. This is just a wonderful place. This just culturally, if you would really dig into the history of not only this part of New Jersey, but the Pine Barrens in general, there's just so much to offer. You just gotta look, slow down and look, you know? That's what we tell people all the time. You just gotta slow down and look around. Because this is just too nice to not share, you know? And we do kayak tours and camping all along the river and in Wharton every chance we get. Last one we did was here. We had 18 people do a kayak with us and camped out for the night and just enjoyed the area. And we just love sharing it with people. Hosting's one of our favorite things. We did one recently here with a good friend of ours. He had a little science day for the kids, learning about some of the insects that live on the property and in the river.
A lot of people ask, like, where's our store? And I don't really know if that's the next step, because brick and mortar stores, I'm not really sure they have a place, you know, anymore. But we do like the idea of having like maybe a co-op, or my dream is to have a general store somewhere in this area, and maybe some more land that we can grow more on. We could tend to, yeah.
Conservation for me, as I said earlier, this area is so unique. It needs protection, and that needs to continue for as long as possible.
So we try and be sustainable. We don't use any plastic in our packaging. We literally reuse whatever we can. Down to the jars that we package things in are salvaged from, you know, our friends and family's recycle buckets. Because why buy new anything really? So we try and be sustainable, organic in the sense of, you know, an all natural, seasonal, small batched products, whatever nature gives us, we just kind of work with it, or learn how to work with it.
Hey, dear friend. As your brothers and